to the randInt podcast with Raffy and Chandra.
The podcast where we explore how the random affects the everyday.
Yay! That didn't take way too many goes to get right.
Oh, woohoo! I didn't get it wrong too many times.
Welcome back for 2024. This is our fourth season, and it's taken us 4 seasons to realize that it corresponds to the year. Like as in 2024 is our fourth season, and 2023 is our third season. We literally just figured this out.
This will be quite convenient as the dementia kicks in.
So that does mean that we are now running for the 4th straight year. And we did think about changing our names, and then we decided it was in the too hard basket for now, so maybe next year.
But on the good side, we did think about it.
Yes. And hey, if you think we should change our name to something a bit simpler, do let us know, because we are considering it. But in the spirit of all things New Year's-ish, especially since we've had a break, I thought we would begin with a how are you? So, Chandra, how are you?
I've been a little bit busy doing a lot of programming and coding, actually.
Yep.
Coding's been enjoyably frustrating, as always.
This is for the iScribe app, is it? The AI system thing. Yep.
Yeah, going for iScribe for some of the... Now it's starting to getting to do some of the fun programming around trying to improve some of the AI outputs that we're getting. And so it's basically in the process of building tools to build the tool in iScribe itself. So it's kind of fun, actually, to be able to build tools to make more AI stuff. And interestingly, even for the coding, you can use the AI to help you code, which is
I would like to point out that, in the new series of the podcast, we lasted 1 minute, 30 seconds before AI came up.
Don't worry. Very soon, Apple is coming up too.
I'm going to actually truncate it to, we can't keep talking about AI, so, have you been enjoying it, or has it been because there's a whole bunch of people who will be like, is this an AI podcast? And no, but then every time we talk about it, it becomes like AI first.
What's that new phone you got? What was the focus of that? Anyway.
It was...
Tell us more about that later. But it's been enjoyable, but it's kind of one of the annoying things is that programming is done best, I find personally, when I have big chunks of time allocated where I can just sort of sit and steep in it and not task switch, which has been great because, I do get the whole Friday afternoon till Sunday kind of thing to do that. But awesome. It does actually make the rest of life a little bit tricky because once you schedule in other meetings in the off time, you're like, should probably buy some groceries. But she'll be right.
I am very surprised you haven't got Sam to just do your grocery shopping for you and drop it off.
I did actually consider that, but then there's somebody who's coming and staying with me once a week because he's working at the other practice and it's been great. He's brought my groceries down. So that's worked amazingly well. Free accommodation, just groceries. I feel it's mutually beneficial arrangement.
Yeah. Fair enough. So we are going to get into resolutions and whatnot in the
But very importantly,
in the next little bit.
Have you seen the new Apple Vision Pro?
There it is. 4 minutes and 6 seconds, Apple comes up.
And Apple is here. I really want to get some, but I just wish I could test it before buying it. Unfortunately, the main problem is it's only released in the US first. So I would have to get someone to buy it in the US and ship it to me and hope it does what I want. Because the main problem for me right now is February the 2nd. Because the big thing I want it for is basically virtual monitors, because it has a feature where you can connect your laptop to it, and then your laptop will show up in the virtual world as a monitor, which, you think, bit gimmicky. However, on a boat where you don't have office space or you don't want to give up office space yet you want 3 monitors for coding.
You're very stable with your office space and monitors not flying everywhere.
Yeah, or if I turn up to Raffy's house and he doesn't like that I've taken over the entire kitchen table with 4 monitors. I mean, I thought it was a great, centerpiece
Yeah,
to
it's
the
a great
house.
look.
But
Yep, that's a yeah. Mac it just works with like dongles everywhere, like spider nest
it's
of cables.
creativeness. So being able to just like put on a set of goggles and have like 4 monitors coming off a laptop would be very, very convenient.
So like there's Windows laptops that just actually go straight to display.
Hmm.
So it's like
Yeah,
just
but I can't. The
keyboard.
physical displays are the problem.
Huh? No, there is no physical
the,
display. It's
what
just
are
straight
they?
goggles. So it's just like a keyboard with goggles,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the laptop.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's kind
So
of cool.
yeah,
But
that's already out.
hashtag Windows.
Yeah, so it works
The
so
main
much
thing is,
better.
so this does that for one screen, but the thing, and if anybody knows, let me know, is whether it'll do multiple screens off the one laptop. Anyway, so for
Yeah.
now, I'll wait.
Nah, because I mean, I think the moment it came out, you're like, "Hey, stop me from getting it." I'm like, "No, I reckon it's cool. I think you should get it so that I can steal it." You know, your last VR headset. You know where that is? Right in my
Yeah.
living room.
Yeah,
So
true.
I'm like,
Actually,
it's a
VR
free
headsets
present.
have worked out quite well for you.
So no, by all means, get it. I think you should. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'll be like
Oh.
visiting your house next time and be like, "Hey, where's my headset on?"
No. Just leave. Like it's a put one in, take one out policy. Just put the Vision Pro in there for a while and leave your iPhone for a while, so I can actually use it with something. Well, actually, it's standalone, isn't it? It doesn't actually need. It's
Yeah,
got its own
it doesn't
OS.
need
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Um,
No, then don't leave your iPhone. I'm not going to use it for anything else anyway.
but it's the best.
uh,
The
yeah.
other
Fair
minor
enough.
gripe I have is, why do things still need cables in 2020, whatever year we're in, 2024? Like, hard to keep track of these year things. Um, but seriously,
Says the
this
guy using
microphone.
the laptop.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've got a microphone on, which we've had the technology for wireless things for a while. Yet
Hang on.
this
Why do you have a
has to have a
wireless microphone
dongle
on?
that
Yeah. Okay.
plugs in.
Why do we have that microphone, Chandra?
Well,
What was that?
apparently the laptop built-in one echoes a bit too much.
What's this? The laptop built-in microphone is so shit, and we've had so many complaints
Not
about
so crap.
one person's
Apparently, a little
one
bit of
person's
echo.
one person's audio is supposedly very robotic, and it seems to be the most frequent feedback we get on randInt. It's like, why does Chandra sound like shit? And he's like, I've got my AirPods. It'll sound amazing. I'll use my iPhone. Hey, none of those seems to be working. And what's that? A $30 microphone, and it's sounding better already.
Well, it sounded really good when I stole my friend Jamie's microphones, but after 2 years, he wanted them back, which I thought was reasonable. So I am trying this microphone out. Let us know how it is. Otherwise, I will suck it up and buy the stupid DJI ones, which look really, really cool, but I didn't want to get them.
Well, you still have to plug them in.
Oh, man. If anybody knows a wireless microphone that doesn't sound bad, please let me know.
By wireless, you mean Bluetooth. Unfortunately,
Anything.
I have tried some. It's not worth it. That's why I recommended that one.
Oh, well, here we are.
Yeah. So, I mean, the DJI
So what
one might
about
be
you?
different.
How have you been?
I have been good, actually. Well, this week has been bad, but I took my very first 1 week off, and I stayed home and I did nothing. Like, it doesn't sound like it's that amazing a thing, but I have not had that for such a long time that can't actually remember the last time I've just been sitting at home and just basically just chilled out. Every other time, even though I've been off, I've had a list of things to do, and I've just been going through that. So it hasn't really felt like I just haven't had the time to get bored. So this time I was like,
Nice.
I'll sit home and just do that for a week, and that was actually really, really good. And this is the first time also, like, our renovations are finished. We've moved into the new apartment, and I could just sit at home for a little while, and and I convinced my wife to do the same because she's a bit of a workaholic too. And she was like, "Hey, this is kind of cool. We should do this more often." I'm like, "You think?"
This whole not working thing, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Then I went to Houston. Like this was so stupid in terms of this makes no sense. Especially the contrast was just a bit much. Where it was like a week of doing nothing. I loved it, and then it was like flying for like 3.5 days to be in Houston, Texas for 3 days. And this was not a Samsung thing, even though there was a Samsung launch literally happening as like 48, 24 hours after I got back. But no one from Australia got invited this time, so that's totally fine. But yeah, I was meant to be meeting my sabbatical supervisor there, but he decided that Hawaii was better than Houston. I was like, they both begin with H's, so he was in Hawaii instead. But it was actually pretty good because I still got to meet some of the team at the innovation lab that's going to be there, and just got a feel of how to structure my time and everything. And we were meant to be meeting at a conference, and this conference
Right.
was one of the tiniest conferences I've ever been to. Right. I don't know what Abdaal conferences are like, but anesthetic ones, the ones that I've been to anyway, the international ones, they're kind of like a few hundred people. Is the smallest previous one that I've been to. This one was
Hmm.
like 50 to 60.
Oh,
So
sounds
like
like a
tiny.
local city meeting.
Yeah. So, but this is like the Society for Technology in Anesthesia. Like this is the US one, and what was amazing was that because it's anesthetist engineers and like industry. So like the
Hmm.
like GE, whoever makes the ventilators or hardware, they were all there. And the thing was that because it was so short, like such a small conference, you could just go up and talk to anyone because there's like only 60 people, and half the people hung around to chat or look at the next sessions. And one of
Nice.
the presenters was the flight medic for NASA, who's looks
Hmm.
after the astronauts, who's in charge of the new Artemis mission to the moon. And I was like,
That's
it
pretty
was
cool.
like he did like an hour-long presentation on applied physiology and space, and I was just like losing my mind. Like the inner nerd was like, yes, I have found my people. Like the next president of the society, like they change every year, he's like goes up and he's like, it's an honor, I found my, like, you're my people, we're the geeks. And I was like, yes, standing ovation, clap clap, I'm in. you know Never have I felt more at ease going. And like, one of the other guys got up and he was into AI because everything's AI these days, right? And he was talking about the actual mathematical technical bit of what a transformer is, like how
Hmm.
it goes through
Wow.
the matrix and does stuff. And I was like, and you can look around, like half the people are still yawning, and I'm like, this is actually beyond me. Matrices are like the one thing that I've never quite understood the point of in maths, and clearly they were very important if everything's built on them, right? So I was like, yeah, I feel like I need a primer on this, but it was like it was so nerdy, and people had such like the difference in social skills, like especially because just think of the crowd, right? They're the nerdiest anesthetists, they're the nerdiest engineers, and it's like a bunch of industry people who are trying to network. Right, it was like the weirdest social experiment of a conference, but the
That could make
speakers
for
were just
some
so good.
interesting social interactions.
Yeah.
Just
It was
on
just
that
like
front, I
awkward.
am going to leave there's always an XKCD comic that's relevant, and I'll leave one
Yeah,
in
you
the
can
show
actually.
notes, which I've actually put in.
Oh my god!
But
Okay,
most
wow. This
machine
is
learning, basically, there's a picture of a person standing on a pile of numbers and matrices and going, yeah. Uh, you pour the data into the big pile of linear algebra, collect the answers on the other side. What if the answers are wrong? You just keep stirring the pile until they start looking right. And it's very true.
it
There's a lot
literally
of
it just looks
theoretical
like
maths. I think
it
the
literally.
approach to machine learning, half the people is a very scientific theoretical maths. The other people just take a bunch of this, take a bit of that, stir it up, and see if you get the right answers out the other side eventually.
So just to describe it, this goes back to our first season. Describe what you see. That episode. So if I had to
Hey,
describe this,
oh, round two, describe a comic.
so there's a bunch of text, and it's two stick figures. So there's one on the corner, and there's one on what looks like a pile of rubbish, but the pile of rubbish is like you can just see mathematical like lambda symbols, a little matrix sticking out of this pile of rubbish, and they have a boat oar, and it just says data on like just sticking up on a funnel, pointing to the tip, and just says that, and there's another bit on the other side that says answers, and the text is the guy in the corner says, "This is your machine learning system," and the guy standing on the pile says, "Yep. You pour the data into this big pile of linear algebra and collect the answers on the other side. The answers is a box." And so the other guy goes, "What if the answers are wrong? Just stir the pile until they start looking right."
And that is machine learning.
I had never thought that our episode from season 1 would come in handy, but there you go.
This goes to the what have I learned from the podcast?
Now, we've already been talking for 15 minutes, so that's 5 minutes over what I wanted to do. I was going to talk about recovery because, I came back from Houston and then basically went to work for one day, realized I was allergic, and went febrile. So,
So you were allergic to work?
Well, I don't know what it was, but
Well,
it was literally the first day back. Got back home at like 6 p.m., felt nauseous, and then febrile, and then it all went away like 48 hours later when I stopped working. So it must be that I'm allergic to work, right?
Must be that. The loss of taste definitely had nothing to do with it.
No loss of taste. It was anyway. But anyway, 48 hours later, back to normal. Like no respiratory symptoms, not COVID as far as I know. So like, okay. Anyway, some weird travel bug. It is what it is. The main thing we wanted to talk about on this episode, since it's beginning of the year, is resolutions, because supposedly a lot of people make them. And I just thought, because data and all that stuff is our kind of nerdy thing, that I found this Forbes.com article on resolutions. And supposedly 38% of adults in the US make a resolution. And it seems to be similar-ish numbers from every other thing that I can find. So 30-40% here as well in Australia. And so we are going to ask about resolutions for later on. But have you made one?
I've made a resolution to not start up any more startups, primarily.
To not what?
Not create any more startups.
Okay, so he's, as you know,
my resolution
is the most spontaneous person who, can definitely do the show just off the cuff, coming up with stories as you ask him questions. So he was typing out his answers to this, right? So he starts typing, "Definitely don't want to start any new startups." And then he, under his breath, he's like, "Unless they're really fun, then it'd be all right."
Well, I mean, it's really hard. Like, what if it's a really good idea and it like seems really fun? Like, just in general, no more startup, unless it's really good.
This goes back to one of the first meetings we ever had about iScribe, where he was like, "Oh, I don't have to do this." So I was like, "All right, so we're just gonna delete this as an option." He's like, "No, I don't have to do this." I'm like, "You still think that this is a reasonable, realistic possibility for you?" But anyway, so it turns out of the 38-40% who actually make a resolution, nearly half are to do with fitness. So 34%, 48% want to have a fitness goal. 34% are to lose weight, and 30-something% is also to improve diet, which I was like, I just expected everyone would just be lose weight and no one would care about diet, but that's actually good to see. And then the next highest is finance. 38% had some sort of financial goal in there. It didn't really break it down.
Interesting.
Yeah. You've got the stats in front of you there, Chandra. Is there anything that kind of sticks out at you?
I wonder. Well, actually, to be honest, the mental health one is a bit surprising.
Yeah,
I did not think that people would actually pick that. Like, finance makes sense. Interest rates are going up, cost of stuff is going up, so people think a bit more about money. Fitness is an always kind of thing. Mental health. Yeah.
So that was the number 3 on the list, was that people had a mental health goal. It didn't specifically say what. There was one about meditations later.
They've separated out, improve work-life balance is a separate thing to mental health. Like, I just assumed that's what they meant. Like, chill, enjoy life a bit more.
I've kind of summarized it into little groupings. If you look through the graph, it's like it says mental health, and then it has like another one
Mm.
that says improve work-life balance. So I've kind of then gone, all right, it's probably a subgroup of this, right? Um, but there were specific ones for meditation, but there was only a few percent, like only like 5% or something wanted, or it was less than 10 anyway, who wanted to do meditation. But there was a mental
Yep.
health improvement one, and so like the reason the next one that I've summarized it as is like friends and family time is because I kind of thought maybe that's the number one because the next highest one was yes, just optimizing time for friends and family. What I found kind of weird, my second point was like making room for hobbies or learning a skill. They're all like 9 and 7%, or even travel more is like 6%. Like I just thought,
Hmm.
I think every year that I've done resolutions, I've had like a learn something or something like travel-ish. Like the travel is kind of like a hobby, photography is kind of like a hobby, but there's almost
Yeah.
always a learning one for me. Like I think every year I've had and at least an
Mm.
attempt. Like it might not be successful, but in terms of just making the resolution, I've always had a learning one, and I didn't realize that that's like only one in
It
10
is
kind of a
pretty
thing.
uncommon on that list.
Yeah, like do you normally have one?
Yeah, normally I have way too many. My resolutions are usually just learn less things. So usually my resolution is okay, what's the thing I'm going to focus on learning as opposed to am I going to?
Yeah, well, I mean the same, right? Like it's, but I wonder how much of this is because we've been in training for so long. It was kind of just assumed you had to learn stuff. Does that make sense? Like
I don't
the
know.
default is.
Do you reckon? Hmm.
Well, I mean, say like we like yeah, it's coming up to what this is my eighth year out, but up until that point, and even now, there's just an expectation that if there's something new, you just have to learn it, figure it, and teach it, right? Like that's just it. Like new
But there's
stuff
also
comes
something
out.
nice to the process of learning new things. I don't know, maybe I get a bit bored if I know something. So that's why
Uh,
things like boats are great because, I know nothing about them. So it's like, oh, this is great.
yeah, I mean, I get it, but again, I feel like our chat would be like, hey, we've always had it, so that's totally normal, right? Like, I mean, I've never even thought
I
that
guess
not having a
constant learning is
learning.
kind of being forced down our throat, whether we like it or not,
Yeah,
for the last
yeah,
while.
yeah, right. So that's what I mean. It's like I just never thought that having a resolution that had nothing to do with learning, I just never even computed that that was possible. Like, does
Mm,
that make sense? Like, I
yeah.
was just like, oh, of course you have a learning one. I'm like, hang on, only 10% supposedly do. So that's the other thing that really, really caught me off guard. And it also
Mm.
turns out that most people, 45% make three resolutions. And I'm like, okay, I'm clearly been doing this wrong because I make way too many more than three. uh, and then supposedly, there's some truth to the fact that, yeah, I think January like 17th or 22nd is something called Quitters Day, um, where people just decide, you know what, that's been long enough. I'm quitting all these resolutions. But
Mm.
supposedly, most people stick it out till 3 months. So you cross the 50% have failed marker at about 3 months, which are like, yeah, you know what, like that's kind of goes
Yeah.
with the same as going to the gyms and seeing when they empty out. But that's
Yeah.
longer than I
Like
actually
it makes sense. I
expected.
guess it's the first month you're always going to be kind of keen. Second month you're like, well, that didn't work, but I'll give it another go. Third month you're like, yeah, this didn't work.
But I think it's also just like the first month doesn't usually count because New Year's like, there's like a week where nothing happens, so
Mm.
like it's almost like it's a free pass month of like you can't do
So I
much, right?
could exercise more, but it's January, so.
I don't know, like as in the exercise one is easy because you have all this time,
Mm.
right? But you don't get
Well, not
into
really, because you're
the
also like, I don't know. That's when people usually go for a holiday or something.
yeah, but like it's because it's not your usual routine. You haven't thought about the logistical friction points of why you would not do it. So I think your
Mm-mm.
first official month of like reality hitting and plus your goals is like February, and well, I mean, I'm finding that right now. Like I was meant to have my first PT session the other day, but I was febrile, so I had to cancel. And then all of this week is
Mm.
busy, so my first one will be February. you know, so yeah.
Yep.
Uh, But anyway, so that brings us to the first ever semi book review section, because we thought, why not talk about how to probably set better goals or productivity and all that stuff. And I've been reading this book, holding up Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal, who is a UK
Feel
based.
good productivity. Interesting.
Yeah, so he basically was a medical student and he started a YouTube channel and he blew up and he's now considered like the number one productivity guy in the world. So
Cool.
he did practice medicine for like 6 months during COVID. He was going to actually locum in Australia and a few other places just to check out the systems, but then decided to go all in on, just like content creation and writing books and, the general creator, Instagram person, the YouTube person, I should say. Um, it was so anyway, I was kind of like, because if you've listened to his stuff over the years, I basically was like, look, he's gonna quote Tim Ferriss. I followed all the other people that he normally quotes, and I was like,
Mm.
I don't know if I'm gonna really get much from this book, but it was an interesting title because like feel good productivity is kind of not what I was expecting it to be called,
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
but part of it is that this book is very much not how to hustle harder. It's more, we probably need to chill out a bit more. It's kind of in the line of the Oliver Berkman book. It's like 10,000 Weeks or whatever it's called. Or have you read that one? I think we mentioned it.
No, I
Uh,
haven't.
no, we
Oh, is this about amount of time in your life?
4,000 Weeks. Yeah. 4,000 Weeks was
Oh,
the
I've come across that through a different source. I think from Wait But Why, and that's actually
yeah
one of the things that I do on a regular basis is the life calendar. I
yeah
don't
yeah
know,
yeah
like shading in the boxes as you go.
yeah
And
So it
week
basically
to
just
week, it's
means
pretty
that
meaningless. But it is quite interesting when you look at like once a year or something, you glance at it and you're like, oh yeah, that year was a bit, was full of interesting things. Or, maybe I should probably allocate those weeks a bit better.
Yeah. So the thing I found that was interesting and different about this book and also the Oliver Berkman book, the 4,000 Weeks one, is the fact that they're less about like, you've got limited time, so you got to make the most of it, which kind of gets you into the anxiety mindset. It was more just like, it doesn't matter. Here's some excuses why, like why you can be kind of inverted commas lazy if you like. It's not lazy, but it just
Mm-hmm.
gives you an excuse to actually tone down that level of like tension that you have on yourself. Um, and the things that I found interesting about it is like, one of the things that it begins with a thing about, how do you actually increase productivity? And the insight was most people don't need any motivation to go play computer games if that's your thing, or to hang out with friends if that's your thing, right? Because they're inherently enjoyable. But some of the stuff that we do for work, some bits of it is inherently enjoyable. So why not just amp out those bits? So this first one is like play. It's like make more things more fun, like add music, be less serious, because seriousness takes a bit of effort, to be prim and proper and all the time. And the other thing is like, things are much more fun in groups. So even like, group study was way more fun just because it's going to be dull and dreary, but at least you're not having to read a book, do the quiz. Someone is quizzing you. You can kind of discuss the answers, and it's just kind of it got accountability built in and whatnot. And the last one was what I thought was interesting, which was a concept of power, which is I would say closer to autonomy, which is you obviously can't always work on anything that you choose. Like you're obviously doing iScribe, but I'm sure some part of
Yep.
it is like, I don't want to do this bit of it. I want to do the fun bit, but you can't because you got to do the
Mm.
shitty bit
Got to
to
eat your
get to the fun
veggies
bit.
too.
Yeah.
It's like,
But
even within the coding, it's like, ooh, I want to write new code. I don't really want to write tests that make sure the code I wrote isn't garbage. That's
um,
boring. It's probably working most of the time, I think.
but his thing was like, so it gave a little story about, like, the story worthy guy. We've mentioned this book in the past as well, which was like looking
Yeah.
for stories in your life. So he supposedly was a McDonald's server, and he found it really boring. But he made a little game, which was he would try and get people to just take the free sauce, like it's barbecue sauce, right? and he would just make up this thing going, hey, he had a little script that he would say. It's like, the last customer that I had really enjoyed the barbecue sauce, so I think you should try it. And he'd just try and see how many he could get in a day to take barbecue
Yep.
sauce. And it was just like this fun little thing, right? And I know personally, one of my early rotations was as a ED intern. So like when you're an intern, like you walk around emergency and you come up with weird diagnoses because you just think the abnormal stuff that's stuck in your brain is the most common thing, right? Like I was like diagnosing esophageal pouches left, right, and center, sending them for like barium swallows. Like it was stupid. But like, what do you know about frequency gambling, right? But one of the things I noticed is that for whatever reason, I get asked all the time where I'm from, right? And most people do to an extent, but I just found like, even with other people from other nationalities around Australia, like I'd get asked a little bit more, and I just got tired of answering the question. So I turned it into this game. And I remember this one day we were doing a short stay ward round with the ED consultant. And first time around, it's like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, you get 3 guesses, right? And they have 3 guesses. And I had my little stats for the year. Like, it'd be like, oh, actually, 32% of people got it within 3 guesses, right? Like, it was just something to make like, you're going to do the check on the drip, their UR band. So I was like, that's what I would do, right? So that day, 5 patients in a row asked me the question, right? So the first time I was like, do. And then my boss was like, oh, why are you doing that? I'm like, oh, I just get asked all the time. Second time, same thing happened, played the game, and she's like, I see what you mean, right? Third time, I'm like, yeah. And then I was like telling her, like, look, it just gets a bit boring, right? Like, so, fourth time, we walk in, he asks us, like, so she started going, you get 3 guesses. So she started playing the game.
Nice.
So I still like, okay. And the thing is, like, this was like 15 freaking years ago, and I still remember that ward round, So it was just this mundane activity. I hate ward rounds, and it is this good memory now, right? So I wonder if, like, it was a mundane thing. You just add a sprinkling of whatever it is that you find remotely interesting.
Yeah.
For me, it's data. For me, it's like, so it was just like collecting the stats of how many people get it. Yeah. So yeah, is there anything like that you've done?
Yeah, I'd say my thing is pretty much every week there's a winery here that just has a really nice view. So I always block out just 2 hours on my calendar, go sit there, have a glass of wine, and listen to an audiobook, and just sit there and chill, do nothing.
Oh, fair enough.
And
well, I mean, I'm getting to
that's my
resolutions,
like little thing. And finally got my coffee machine working as well. So again, just to sit for 10 minutes in the morning, look out, there's a window over there, which is overlooking the ocean. Just that 10 minutes in the morning. It gives me motivation to wake up like 10 minutes earlier than I normally do. But it is just nice just to have a seat for a bit before cracking on.
No. Fair enough. The last little bit, I haven't finished the last chapter of the book, but I just thought I'd give a quick summary of the interesting bits of the book that I've seen. And one of them was one section's on productivity and like finding a good kind of reason to do it, and those are the things to help along. And the other one was kind of more anti-procrastination, if you like. So there's a bit of stuff about how procrastination develops, and the different fears, like you could be a fear of failure, or feel like you could be a perfectionist, etc., etc., etc. But that's kind of in other books, right? And one of them that Tim Ferriss talks about quite a bit is like uncertainty. It's kind of just like not knowing what the literal next step is, right? Like it's kind of like going to the gym is fine, but going to the gym, the next step is like get clothes, and then is your gym at home, or is it raining and it's like you need an umbrella? Like, what is the literal next step? And it's kind of like builds on the whole concept of inertia and going, okay, if you know the next step and you can execute that, then you probably just start the cycle, right? I mean, this is all stuff elsewhere.
If there's like it's like having a very clear set of steps that you can very easily do one by one by one by one.
Yeah.
Eventually automatically becomes a motion.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like doing because it's a little step, it's not as much of an emotional lift to go, I really have to do 10,000 steps or like pump, I don't know, 100 kilos, whatever it is, right? But so that was one aspect of it. And one of the interesting sort of, how there's SMART goals and there's, there's a hard, like, the GTD
Yeah,
system
there's a
for
million and one
getting.
goal frameworks to go with. Yep.
Yeah. So the one acronym that I hadn't heard of was NICE goals. So these are, so
Mm.
it's almost like it's not the opposite, but it's kind of like, SMART is like, specific, measurable, blah, blah, blah. And so NICE is near term. So it's kind of like something that's not too far ahead, right? So
Yep.
like a week to a month, that sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Input based. So it's kind of like, if your thing is fitness, it's like the goal might be, I'm going to actually do 10,000 steps, right? So it's
Yep.
not, you can't focus on the outcome. It's just whatever you can do, and which builds into
Mm-hmm.
controllable. It's like, yeah, you can do 10,000 steps. It's not like, I need to do 100,000 steps, which would literally require you to stop working for the day, right? Like it builds into, it's something that's actually, this is the achievable part
But
of the
also the
SMART
nice thing
goal.
is like it seems, yeah, it's the achievable equivalent,
Yeah,
picking something that you
yeah.
can tick it off because it feels
Yeah,
good to tick it off because then you want to tick off the next thing.
yeah, and then the last bit is energizing, which is kind of like, if you have like a goal of doing, I don't know, like, yes, I'm going to eat like 300 calories and aggressively lose weight. You're going to be tired, and you're going to be punishing yourself, and you know that the moment the goal ends, you're going to go the other way because that wasn't actually fun, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I made my own little framework called Smarter, and R was repeatable because most of the time your goals
Mm.
aren't, they don't have a definite endpoint. Like, as in, when you become healthy, the goal is not then to rebound back. You want to actually keep doing it. So you got to
Yep.
have like an element of how do you keep going, right? Like it has to become the status quo. And so the energizing
That's why for
part
me,
does
I don't
that.
know. I kind of like, as where possible, for goals to be more habits as opposed to
Yeah,
the goal is to set up a habit essentially.
yeah, exactly. But it's kind of like, that's true, but I don't think it had actually consciously clicked in for me before. Like,
Mm.
does that make sense? Like, it was
Yeah,
always,
yeah.
it kind of subconsciously, that is what it is, right? And it totally makes
And I
sense.
also really like the input based goals because you have direct control over that. Like, even if it is, say, weight loss, and you decide that you're going to go for a run once a day and that's your goal, well, you might not actually lose any weight because you eat more cake or something. But
Yeah.
at least it is a goal that you have achieved in the right direction. And if you can make that a habit, it's something you have control over. So you can make that happen. And then you have the opportunity to go, okay, well, here's the thing that I want to get to. What's another goal that I can add on? Eat 4 cakes a week, not 7. Like,
Well, I mean, this is the other thing that I quite liked about the book, is the fact that if you read that, right, and you think about what I just said, this, they kind of build onto, like, that's an element of the power aspect. It's kind of like, basically it's input based and it's energizing, is kind of like the play and the power principle, but just in a goal setting framework. Does that make sense?
mhm.
Because it's
Yep.
like, well, energizing just means it's fun, so make it
Mm.
fun. And input based means like, well, something that's autonomous and under your control. So I was like, it's interesting. It's just like, it's the same stuff, just there's the makes tasks fun, set tasks that are fun, you know. And like, I was like, it's an interesting way of structuring a book, because if you read it, it seems like it's talking about totally different things, but then you go and you summarize and you're like, no, it's just the same stuff. It's just switched around a little bit. But it, I like books like that because it's the same core message, but it's applied in so many different ways that it'll probably stick in one way of the
Mm.
many approaches. So yeah. And the last one that I thought was really interesting, because we were going to do an episode on this and we might still do it, which was that the general productivity system is like, go do more, do more, do more, without giving you a incentive. Like, everyone knows you should rest, right? Like, that's just kind of a well-to thing. But there's been a recent bunch of books that's very much like, hang on, here's some actual data on rest, right? And I remember the
Mm.
first one that I read like this was Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker.
Yeah, I think the
And it
sleep
had
book
like,
was really good.
yeah, and that literally, just the data on like performance of good night's rest versus like trying to power through it, made me go to bed early, right? And so this one, the data part of it, look, there's the data, like, yes, I'm sure everyone knows, like, awake for X number of hours is the same as having like a blood alcohol level of something really stupidly high.
I still find it helpful to remind myself of that stuff, because it's like, oh, I had a bad patch recently where I'm going to sleep late. And it's, again, just bad habit has formed. And it's like, oh yeah, I know I should just leave my phone outside, go to sleep, but I'm not. And actually recently I just saw a little summary of that came up somewhere in that book. I have actually slept a tiny bit earlier now. And it's just like a little reminder like that is helpful, I find, personally.
Yeah. So
it's like the whys that you definitely know, but they're just in your face resurfaced again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like there's always this degradation, right? Like it's, again, the thing with habits is that once they become a habit, you don't notice it, but then you also don't notice the slippage if it wasn't actively maintained some way. But the thing that I quite liked about it is the calm mnemonic for recharging activities. So it's kind of like you can just write off a day and just kind of go, hey, this afternoon I'm just going to lie there and watch TV. But in terms of what are the things that you should like have a framework for like picking an activity to recharge. And his one is CALM, which stands for competence, autonomy, liberty, and mellow, right? Which again, if you look at those words, it's kind of like the whole play thing, but just in a different form. And the competence part was interesting because I was like, what does that mean? And the example given was painting, right? So supposedly George W. Bush used to paint, like Taylor Swift paints, because his thing is like, painting is one of the most unlikely to make you turn into a career activities for you, but it's something that you can improve on. Like, so it doesn't matter if you're like an amazing painter, right? The chances of you competing against all the other amazing painters, especially historical, is pretty close to zero. Like, not zero. There are obviously amazing painters out there.
But what if you used average AI? Could you become the best?
At 42 minutes, we still circle back to
We're back.
But the point was that it's something that as you do it, you'll probably get a little bit better. Like you'll just understand mixing colors a little bit more, right? So there will be a definite stepwise progression from step 1 to step 2. Or first painting to second painting. Maybe it's a little bit of slippage, but there's something to learn in every painting. And it's something like, you're just picking whatever to draw. It's one of the preliminary things was like, you should try and pick an activity that you're not going to turn into a job, because then you get back to the original metrics. And I'm very guilty of this. Like this podcast, I'm like, I look at all the data. I'm like, yep, need to get all this stuff improved, even though it started off as like this little hobby project, right? Started the email newsletter, same thing. I'm like, okay, the fall off is this is that. And I'm like, the fact that, I don't know, like 200-300 people, and of that, I don't know, I think about 100 and something people per week were reading my random emails. That's pretty impressive. And it's the same with social media, right? But it's just like, I can't help myself if it has a trackable ability. So maybe I should take up painting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like,
I think
that's
the closest
cool.
for me that is photography, like editing photos. That's why I've specifically not made that a job. No photo sales, no nothing. But it is easy as well with that to get a little bit caught up in, which one should I edit? What will be popular? But most of the time now I'm just like, no, I like hyperactive, like nuclear color style. That's just me.
Oh my God, yeah.
If you don't like it, look at something else.
I'll just explain the last two. Liberty and mellow. Liberty is just you have the time to do it, and mellow is something that's not stressful. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's
something
not
that
like,
doesn't turn into a competition. I need more likes.
Yeah, but it's also like, you probably don't want to choose a calm activity that's like ultra marathon running, because like you might find it relaxing, but it's also kind of like, does that make sense? I mean, I think there's a different example in the book, but it's kind of like, if the point is to actually choose a recharging thing, make sure it's not a depleting thing at the same time. Like, yes, it definitely is mentally recharging, I'm sure, but it's physically, like, it just depends on which part of the recharge.
Maybe not as recharging.
Yeah. Like, as in, it might be mentally recharging, but physically draining. Maybe just go for both mentally and physically recharging, That's what I got out of it anyway. So now with that kind of info, if you like, I thought we should actually see if we have any resolutions. So, do you, for
Well,
2024, have any
actually,
resolution?
one of my biggest things was this year no new resolutions, and
Interesting.
rather, so very specifically, nothing new, and rather just to maintain existing ones. So,
Okay.
I've got my little like list of goals that I've ticked, achieved, or whatever, but it's more about maintenance this year than anything. So, in the health category, like I've just tweaked things a little bit because before I wanted to swim and do PT, but I've realized, well, actually, when I'm locuming in Australia, well, actually doing 3 PT sessions a week is quite doable. Um, and that's something that I have kept up for a long time. Like, yeah, sure, maybe not 3, maybe it's 2, whatever. But doing 3 a week happens most weeks, and it's nice. That's happened for many years, and I want to keep that up. And the only little caveat to that I've done is just while locuming. Before I wanted to swim while I'm here as well and make that a goal, but right now, for example, coding hard, find extra time, etc. But I've decided to make that a boat goal. So when I'm on the boat, an average of half an hour a day is what I've put, because there'll be days when I can't swim because the weather's crap, moving the boat, whatever. But
Sharks trying to eat
when
your
I am
rudder.
going for a swim, yeah, yeah, killer whales eating the rudder. No, then I need to swim and tell it to go away, bugger off. But that would be a good time. Like, it's an average goal. It's not I must do 30 minutes every day. But in a typical week, if I do 30 minutes on average, that means I might just go for like a couple of hours one day, just snorkeling or whatever, just being in the water, doing that kind of stuff. And it's an enjoyable goal as well. Like, it's flexible. Like, I'm not going to be like trying to swim as fast as humanly possible. But inevitably, you're also like, there's interesting fishies over there. I want to go see those. And so it just becomes one of those easy to maintain goals. And so that's kind of how I want to keep the health thing, which is essentially do some exercise, but I've just put a couple of parameters around that to make it easy for me to see that I'm doing it.
Nice.
And then on the lifestyle, on the wealth front, again, just maintenance. So just no major extra expenses.
What?
That's all.
What happened to the second boat? You need a support boat for your first boat.
Well,
Isn't that what?
I mean, otherwise, where's the helicopter going to land?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't have your helicopter adding noise to your main boat.
Yeah, I like your thing. No extra major expenses. It's not major. You've got the major. This is a minor
Well,
support
exactly.
boat.
Exactly.
Nice. So just leave me a spare room in the minor support boat. I'll just jump onto that one. I'll support you from a distance. From the back. I'll be like, Chandra, you got this. Whatever it is you're doing. Yeah. You go attack that shark. I'll just be here.
Well, due to that, now the minor support boat has been downgraded to an inflatable pool thing.
And also, what's the Starlink password?
What? I can't hear you. Sorry. And on the lifestyle front, just incorporating good habits into boat life routine. So that'll be a later this year thing. But last year was quite disruptive being on the boat, and obviously it's all new environment, all new everything. And so, some of the little routine things that I used to do regularly weren't really happening on the boat, and that was okay. I didn't mind that, and I left it as an open-ended to be messy. But my hope is this year to start having some routines, like doing some regular meditation, that kind of stuff. Just have proper routines again.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I remember last year you were just like, I don't know what I don't know about boat life, so there's no point in making the resolutions because it's going to be just weird anyway. Which, yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
I tend to break mine down into like healthy, wealthy, wise, like the Benjamin Franklin. Graham, I think, was the investor dude thing, just because it's just easy framework.
Well, if you need me to say wise, I guess my wise one is literally no more startups.
with the little asterisk of unless they're fun.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So
so
for
what about
me,
yours? Tell me more.
yeah. So this year specifically, I've got a lot, but it's just in the healthy category. So in the past, it's mainly been wealthy and wise. That's been the focus. I mean, it's been workish things. So I think that's wealth wise kind of thing rather than health. So that's kind of where the focus went. So this year, I want to do my 10,000K push-ups. So I want to do 10,000, sorry, 10,
Mm.
not 10,000K, 10K push-ups in the year.
Per
And I want to
day?
run.
Oh, per year. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
I
like, it's a lot
can't
of
do that
push-ups.
much. Yeah. Yeah, that is not controllable. I'd have to not go to work. So it works out to be about 30 to 40 a day. I'm going to be, like, I was sick the
Okay,
last few days, so I
doable.
missed a few days. So I'll make up for it, and that should be doable. I mean, I got up to like 5 or 6,000 last year. So
Hmm.
and I had this entire chance where I was just traveling so much that I just didn't do any of this. So I was like, well, if
Yeah, I
three
mean, you need a
something,
lot of specialized equipment. You need a floor. Like, you can't get that when you travel.
yeah. Well, exactly. Like,
Because
I'm
when you
glad you
go
understand.
overseas, when you're in the northern hemisphere, then you're just hanging from the ceiling. So you can't do push-ups.
Thank you. I did not think people would understand this valid point. And
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, otherwise you're upside down and you're pushing the world away. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah. Okay. On that front, I just genuinely just forgot about it once I was traveling. So, um, because the first travels were his holidays, and I remember specifically going, I should do this, but I don't want to. I just want to have like a 3 week break from all responsibility, and that just sets a bad precedent because then every trip I did the same thing. I went into the same room. But
Reason for
this
holiday,
year,
I really want to do my push-ups.
this year my knees recovered. So last year I injured my knee as well. So hopefully, as long as that doesn't happen this year, I still want to run 10,000 Ks in total. So like even today I did
Cool.
a 2K run. So it's just 3Ks. So it's nothing excessive. Like these are
Is
none of
that a
these
lot?
things.
Is a 3K run a big thing?
Nah. Like I used to run like 15Ks
Okay.
every day, like in med school. Um,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, like it was 15Ks, then 20Ks, 15Ks, 20Ks, and I'd run every other day. But like since then, I've injured both knees multiple times and put on weight. So now like 3Ks is like, it's fine. It's like a 15-minute run, right? But it's also
Oh, okay.
just, it's
Cool.
not a particularly like, I probably won't be able to run 3Ks in 15 minutes anymore. I can run 2Ks in 15 minutes. So that's a pretty like just above jogging pace. And that's fine. Like, it's
That's
the
quite
point isn't to,
achievable. Like, it's
yeah.
you got to spare half an hour, i.e., 5-10 minutes to put your shoes on,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, get upstairs, downstairs. It's a half an hour like activity.
Oh, like I mean, you know me. I actually just like going for a run, and going for a walk. So like, it's just actually making something that I enjoy a goal. So it's kind of like going
Mm.
into the whole. That's why I kind of found the book interesting because I'm like, it's kind of what we've kind of have been doing the last few years, but it's like a bit more of a structure on
Mm.
it. Yeah. So
Yep.
in terms of
Nice.
absolute numbers, I do actually want to track my body fat percentage on DEXA because that's kind of like the ultimate end goal. Like I can't control it. Well, I can control it with diet and exercise and stuff like that. But I should actually measure it properly because I've got like scales and this, that, and there's 100 ways of measuring it. Like
So is the
literal
goal
X-rays
to
telling.
just have regular measurements or a
The
specific
goal is to
number?
start trending down
Okay.
with a variance of like, I mean, I haven't put it specifically, but to lose roughly 10% of kind. So not to drop 10%, but I don't know. I think I'm nearly like 30%
okay.
or whatever. So it's like whatever the number
Right. So
was,
you
I
got to
can't
get down
remember
to
it.
like 27 if you're
Or
30.
yeah. So basically that,
Sure.
right? So just I want a 10% variance. So it's pretty low number for a year's goal. But
Mhm.
anything more than that, great. But I just want to start the shift downwards because at the moment, especially the end of last year after injuries, that the trend was going the other way. So I was like gaining body fat. So yeah, I just not just stop, but just start the trend back down. That's all I have to do,
Yep.
right? So it shouldn't be a
Okay.
hard lift,
Nice.
yeah, and regular PT, blah blah blah. So those are all the mechanisms. And again, I feel like we're both at like that sort of season of life where we're not trying to add on too much. So like for well stuff, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to do anything other than the status quo. Like the goal will be to just stop the feature creep, because every other year something's come along, or there's been like, even nice grabs like investment opportunity, this, that, or the other. And I just end up working more to be able to do the thing, or like even the Samsung stuff, right? Like, it was take leave, but then I had to make up for it. And so there was these concentrated crunches of work where I was catching up on other things. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to change too many things. And I say this, and I realize that tomorrow I'm having a meeting about possibly starting like like a small side company thing, which we kind of half talked about. But if it goes ahead, yeah. But
Do
that
we get to
one
know what
will.
it's around, or is it under wraps
Once we
now?
settle on it, it's not really under wraps, but it's just like, I don't know if we're doing it, so let's just go figure it out. But the difference this time is that from the outset, apart from a very short period of time where I'll just want to figure out the templates, it will be something that I want to actually get other people to do and build a team around. Because every other time I've done something, it's just been me doing it. Like this podcast was like, us just starting it. And then we've slowly started handing over stuff. I'm not very good at having a team and delegation and managing, right? Like that's your department. I usually am solo dude doing the thing. So this one should be a little bit easier, even if I do proceed with it. But it's also not really a financial goal. It's just something to build. Like it's actually kind of just for the fun of building out a team. So it's not
Building stuff is
really,
fun.
yeah. And for Wise, I do actually want to keep learning, like going back to flight school. So last year I had a goal of actually going and flying solo. But, I just enjoy the process and I don't want to rush it. And also this year, if I'm going on sabbatical and going to be away for 3 months, there's no point in putting that arbitrary time fund in June, because that means I need X number of lessons, X number of hours. And I was like, there is no one's going to care if I can fly a plane or not, except for me. And the fact that I get to go, hey, I can make this thing fly in the air and go to this place and that place, right? So why would I make it less so, yeah? By putting an arbitrary time frame. And one thing that I have been doing, including tonight, is been actually scheduling a half a day to waste. I'm not allowed to do anything productive. Like, I mean,
Nice.
if it's tidying the house, fine, like putting shit away, that doesn't require any brain power. But I can't work on a goal. I can't look up data. I can't do anything. If I want to just sit
So
and
no
mindlessly
coding
watch,
is what I'm hearing.
nothing. It's literally nothing, right? There is a goal of coding, but the coding is kind of like, I just want to build this couple of little things that I find that I just want to build. Like, for example, like I'm doing like one of my sort of fun projects is doing a few more videos as a result, right? So I just want to know, because the YouTube, if you follow like the subscriber counts on YouTube, right, it goes up. Some people unsubscribe, or accounts get deactivated, so it just bounces up and down. I just want to know when it's gone up from whatever the high watermark was by one, right? So I just want to run like a web scraper that runs
Yeah,
once an
just check
hour.
once a day. Yeah.
No. I want it once an hour, because once a day I'll start
Okay.
manually checking, right? But yeah, so I just want a cloud function that checks it once an hour, and then if
Easy.
it's no difference, nothing, and if it's gone up by one from whatever the high watermark was, it sends me a message, right? That's all. It's a pretty
So
easy,
you could do that. That sounds pretty easy.
yeah.
But I just thought of something. So you want to learn two things: flight school and coding. Why don't you learn Unity, get a VR headset, and then code your own flight school?
Yes, to
How
go
hard can
for.
that be?
Well, considering there's an entire team that builds Flight Sim, why don't I just use Flight Sim?
Nah, you want to learn how to code? Just build one yourself. Don't be so lazy. I hear you've got half a week. I hear you've got half a day a week.
So yeah. Anyway, so I feel like we're both on similar things on the seasons of life sort of thing, because a lot of our stuff's like, yeah, maintain, don't go into feature creep mode. Maybe we're just getting old.
Yeah. No creep. No, stop it.
So with that, yeah, I want to know. It's like, I genuinely am curious what other people's resolutions are. So if all episodes, if you've remotely ever wanted to leave us a message or send us a text, or there'll be a little Q&A thing on Spotify, let us know what your actual resolutions are, if you have them. And I'll actually put up a little poll on Spotify as well. Just, yeah, just actually answer, because I want to see, is our data, like the people that listen to us, are they on average the same as what we're seeing on the Forbes article, or do we have like a different crowd? I'm willing to bet it's a slightly different crowd. But yeah, I just want to see. So yeah, let us know what your resolutions are, and we'll see you in the next episode. Anything else to add from you?
No, I'm actually kind of curious to see, what area, do people actually, do people making goals? And if so, what area? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I will also say, we'll put it in the show notes. I made this little Google Docs PDF thing of just like frameworks and little breaking down things. It's just a template for goal setting for the year that I've used last year, and I found it kind of useful. So I'll put a link to the blank one if you guys want to use it. And also, lastly, as always, please do like and subscribe and follow the podcast on your podcast app or Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review, because
And buy
this
an
year
Apple iPhone and then leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Steal someone's Apple iPhone, leave a review, then smash it on the floor and tell them to go get a Samsung or an Android phone.
Is that because the Samsung has AI?
But anyway, it's basically, this year we will try to actually be a lot more consistent with the podcast, and we are going to try and grow the team so that it's a lot more reliable. And one of the listeners, that's what I'm going to ask you to do, because that's what you said you would. So yeah, they're going through some life changes at the moment. Once they settle in, hopefully that means that we will actually be a lot more predictable with our schedule. We have a huge backlog of guests that have actually been asking us, going, are we going to ever be on the podcast? So, like, yep, you will. We've just had connection issues, this, that, and the other. And now we're getting to the point where,
I feel like the next few months is going to be a great time for us to get some guest podcasts in.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, until then, bye-bye and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Wait. We finished in an hour.
It is a surprise.